Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. Let me see. I have a lot of sun in my face. Um, my name is Taya. I am from Toronto, Canada, but I currently live in Barcelona, Spain. What about you? Oh.
I'm Sultan Ahmed Khan, and my home country is Pakistan, but I work here in Saudi Arabia.
Okay. So currently you are in Saudi Arabia?
Exactly.
Okay. And how long have you been in Saudi Arabia for?
It has been 1 year.
Wow, so a long time, huh?
Exactly, yes.
Have you been home ever since you left?
Yes, I went to Pakistan once, and fortunately, my family has arrived here. Now it's with me.
Okay. Oh, that's excellent. That's great news.
Yes.
Yeah. So, tell me, what do you do? So, do you like living in Saudi Arabia?
Yes, I love living in Saudi Arabia.
So, which city in Saudi Arabia are you in?
I'm in Al Khubar. It's next to Dammam.
Okay.
We border with Bahrain.
With border with
Bahrain.
Bahrain. Bahrain. Okay, okay. Bahrain. That's a country. Okay, okay. Now I know. Well, tell me then a little bit just to get to know you a little bit better. Uh, what are some of your sort of interests or things that you are passionate about?
I do different things. Like I love reading motivational books,
Mm-hmm.
and apart from this, I also like to learn different languages. Like I was learning Arabic.
How do you find learning Arabic? That must be pretty tough.
For Urdu speaking people, Urdu is actually an official language of Pakistan.
Yeah.
So Urdu and Arabic are much similar.
Really?
They have the same alphabets and words as well.
Yeah.
So it is not very difficult for an Urdu speaker to learn Arabic.
Oh, actually, I never knew that. If you had asked me, or like, I would have guessed that they're completely different languages that are unrelated.
Mhm.
But that's kind of good to know. So you already have that basis, which makes it easier for you.
Exactly.
I'm passionate about languages myself. Like, I really enjoy the process of learning a new language, and I'd like to learn more. But I'm just not sure. Like something like Arabic, it does seem so different, and it seems quite difficult. But it's probably also the languages that I speak. They're Indo-European languages, so they follow a similar type of structure, right?
Yes,
The sentence
yes.
structure, grammar, and so forth. There is a common thread between them, and I think this is what makes them uh, a little bit more manageable to learn. To go from one to the
Yes.
other. But then when you kind of try and change and learn a completely different language, I think it'll be a challenge. Same thing if I tried, for example, to learn
Chinese.
Chinese. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Because I have a friend. She has been living in Beijing for the last 4 or 5 years, and I mean, she's at a pretty decent level of Mandarin, right? But I mean, it's difficult, right? If you want to write, and you need to start learning the characters, but there are so
Mhm.
many of them. So it takes years before you know even just the basic, like writing in Chinese. Um,
Yes, even for me, learning especially the characters of Chinese is like a Herculean task. I
yeah,
cannot make head and tail out of it.
yeah. But how do you? So you were saying to me that Arabic and Urdu have the same alphabet. Like, do you use the same? So it's the same writing? Like you write the same way, or?
Uh, the alphabets are same. They have some subtle difference, but the way it is written, it is a bit different.
Uh, so
Yes.
at what level are you now in Arabic? Can you speak a little bit with the locals, or?
No, not at all. Yes, I can speak few sentences which I
Yeah.
have memorized. Actually, I was trying to learn the classic Arabic, that how to understand it.
Yeah.
I was not learning it for conversation. Actually, Muslims have Quran in Arabic language.
Yeah.
So almost all the Muslims know how to read it. They know it very well. Even I know it very well how to read it. But in order to understand it, I was trying to learn this language.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's really fascinating, you know. So tell me, so aside from that, so you like to learn new languages, and what else did you say are some of your passions and hobbies?
As I told you that I like reading motivational books.
Ah, that's
So
right.
whenever I have any spare time, I read self-development books.
Tell me a little bit so about the motivational books. What's a book that you really liked, either or a book that you've read lately?
I have been reading a book. The title of that book is The Dip,
The Dip?
and yes, The Dip, and it is related to like those people who start something new and they leave after doing it for few months because they think that it's difficult.
Oh.
So the dip phenomena is like if you just keep struggling, if you just pass that time, so you will succeed in doing whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the people just quit right in the dip.
Mm. That's really interesting because that describes me in so many ways. Um, I personally have a lot of hobbies and interests. I'm interested in learning a little bit about everything. And so I do start a lot of projects and a lot of things to do. But it's not even that it becomes difficult. I think I just lose interest quickly as
In my way of thinking, most of the people are like the same. Even I have this problem. Sometimes we procrastinate, sometimes we get busy. So
mm-hmm,
I also face this problem that I start a new thing.
mm-hmm.
Like I told you that I started learning Arabic, and then after few months, I quit. I did not practice.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that happens with me too is that I start with a lot of enthusiasm and I make it my goal that I'm going to do this like, I have to do it 3 times a week and it has to be for this long. And then, of course, I think some of that, like, I set it too high, like, for example, for practicing drums. And then if I can't do it, then I'm
Mhm.
like, you know what? Like, I just, no, I can't do this. Like, instead of setting like really smaller and more manageable goals, for example, to do it 10 minutes every day, if I just did it 10 minutes every day, 10 minutes is not that much time. But I think it would make a
Yes.
difference and it would like, I would go past that dip that you're talking about, maybe where it wouldn't be as challenging and I would enjoy it more.
Exactly. This is the same thing which I read in a book called The Atomic Habit.
Hmm. What does it talk about?
So it talks about the same thing, that if you want to change yourself in a day, it is next to impossible.
Yeah.
So you have to take baby steps in the beginning,
Yeah.
and don't try to get overnight results. It takes some times, and it also says that we have a part in our brain called basal ganglia.
Hmm.
So it stops us doing some new tasks. So that is the reason we have to start small.
Yeah. I mean, and I've read about this, like not read about. I heard it in YouTube, like to when setting goals to like do this. I think it's a 10-minute rule or something where you say to yourself, "I'm only going to do it for 10 minutes." Like, oh, I don't want to do this and this and this, but I'm only going to do it for 10 minutes, and then see how it works. So
Mhm.
applying this kind of strategy.
Sorry for interruption. One more thing related to it. I also read it that whatever you want to do, you need to do it with concentration. For that, we have a Pomodoro technique. So since we all human beings
Yeah.
have an attention span of 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So you should start doing it for 20 minutes and stop, and then do something, whatever you like to do. Like if you want to eat chocolate or go outside or talk to your friends, do after 20 minutes, but do not stop yourself during these 20 minutes. That is Pomodoro technique, that whatever you do it with 100% attention and concentration.
Okay. So then, okay, so you do that for 20 minutes. How long do you take your break for, or do you alternate?
It is up to you.
Okay.
It can be 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but the most important thing is that you need to concentrate for 20 minutes, stop each and everything, put your mobile aside, and just focus whatever you are doing. And after that, you need to give yourself a reward, and that reward can be anything. So this is the process.
I need to try something like that. Well, I actually appreciate you sharing these kind of tips, because there are definitely ways in which I'd like to improve my focus and sticking to tasks things that I want to do and develop myself in. So, like I said, I really have a lot of interest in hobbies. And for me, the way that it goes is that, and I'm trying to actually schedule things in, thinking that maybe that'll keep me focused. But this is usually how it works. Like, so either I have the time where I'm working or I'm doing something that I have to do, or I have free time. And then in my free time, there's also going to be limited time where I have the energy, and motivation to do something, to pursue my interest or hobby or learning. And so typically what happens when I enter that energy where I'm feeling really like, okay, now I'm going to do something, the energy is so all over the place that I can't pick what it is that I'm going to do now, because now I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm like, I want to do one of my things, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna do the drums. No, I started reading a book, and I like to read it out loud in Spanish, so I practice my Spanish. So, then I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go practice dancing. I love to dance. The only thing that I'm always consistent with is working out. I'm very passionate about working out. And with that, I'm really, really consistent, and I'm always in the moment, and I'm focused, and I do it. And that that's the one activity that helps me stay a little bit focused, and but everything else, once I enter the energy of creativity, I don't know what to do, because I keep jumping from task to task. I need to figure that
Exactly.
out.
I have this same problem, and whenever we have time, extra time and energy, at that time we are again confused that what should we do?
Yes.
Which activity should we start doing?
Yes, because I have so many that I would like to do in that time. And then I'm like, okay, I don't know, I'm going to do my drawing. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do my macrame. I'm going to do my book. And then as soon as I start one, I think, oh no, maybe I have too much energy. I shouldn't be reading a book. I should be doing something else. I don't know. I think it's a
It happens. But I think in order to get rid of this problem, we should have a schedule that this day and this time should be allocated to that particular activity.
Have you implemented some of these kind of techniques and methods into your life? What do you think works the best for you that you read about?
Yes, I applied some of these techniques in my life, and I got some amazing results. But I'm not consistent with all these techniques. So sometimes it happens that you are super busy and you forget each and everything.
Yeah, well, if you're busy, or if you have a kind of a legitimate excuse, if you're busy with work, or and sometimes also if we wait until too late, like in the evening, typically the energy's lower, and I have time, but I just don't feel motivated to start doing something, and you just, I don't know, sit there in front of Netflix and, like, I don't know.
I personally think that especially in this era of time, it is very, very difficult to be focused
Yeah.
because of all these distractions like YouTube, as you said, Netflix, Facebook, social
Yeah.
platforms. So just giving concentration to one task and leave everything behind is like super difficult.
Uh, well, I agree with you. That's a challenge, especially because we use some of these platforms to perform some of these tasks. So, for example, um, when I'm practicing my drums, I follow a YouTube channel where a guy teaches drumming without drums. So you just practice with your sticks
Mhm.
but it is on YouTube. Same things when I'm doing my workouts or I'm trying to follow some TED Talks or informational channels, they're all on YouTube. And you know what happens? Like when you go to actually to watch that or listen to something, you get distracted by other suggestions that come up, and then 2 hours later, you're like, oh no, I was going
Exactly.
to do. So if there was a book that you would recommend for me to read, for example, to create good habits or staying focused, what would you recommend?
There, like I told you, the one Atomic
Atomic
Habits,
Habits and the dip.
yes, and the other is Indistractable.
Okay. So
Indistractable.
not the other one that you told me about, the dip.
Yes, you can also read the Dip as
Yeah.
well. It's a very short book, only 90 to 100 pages. So you
Okay.
can read it in 2 days.
Okay.